If this latest isotope shortage crisis sounds familiar, that's because it is. A year and a half ago, the reactor at Chalk River was shut down because of a safety dispute with the nuclear regulator. In a rare and dramatic emergency session very late at night, Parliament passed a bill that ordered the reactor back online. But this time, the 52-year-old reactor can't be legislated back. It is broken and will take 3 months and maybe more to fix. The result is a worldwide isotope shortfall and a significant blow to Canada's leadership in supplying much of the world with these high-tech medical devices.
A real catastrophe for the 2 million nuclear medicine patients in Canada.
Mais une véritable crise médicale.
We're going to have a shortage, it's going to bite, and it's going to be significant.
I think it's going to get far worse, not better.
The isotope crisis is worse this time because of a decision made a year ago to not go ahead with 2 new reactors. And these reactors, called Maple 1 and Maple 2, were supposed to replace the aging NRU reactor at Chalk River. But the Maple reactors were plagued with design problems, and they ended up costing hundreds of millions of dollars. Last May, 8 years after the Maple reactors were supposed to get started, Atomic Energy of Canada, or AECL, killed them, and any chances of Canada remaining a leader in this field. Isotopes from Chalk River are delivered to MDS Nordion in Canada. It's a private company that gives some of its isotope revenue back to AECL. Steve West is president of MDS Nordion. Selling isotopes is a lucrative business, and his company had been guaranteed decades of steady supply once the Maples were working by AECL.
It was a complete shot out of the dark. We had no idea. We were planning to get these isotopes by the end of 2008.
We're really going to see the loss.
Dr. Robert Atcher from the U.S. is the outgoing president of the Society of Nuclear Medicine, the body of doctors that was counting on Canada's Maples project to produce isotopes for years to come.
I can't, it's not broadcast worthy. It was, again, just before our annual meeting of the Society of Nuclear Medicine, and it was devastating.
The decision to kill the Maple reactors meant that the only option was that the old NRU reactor at Chalk River would have to go non-stop, producing isotopes for several more years. There would be no backup. To rely solely on the old reactor would be a huge risk.
Oh, for sure. I think that I would say that the degree of lack of management and lack of risk management, particularly in this, is profoundly shocking.
Linda Keane is past president of the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. She says there was no plan if the old reactor broke down.
Every company, private or public, has to have a sense of what would you do if, and what are the chances if. And any person who, outside of this particular circumstance, would tell you that a 52-year-old reactor is very old. It was meant to be closed down in 2000. It was designed to be closed in 2000. So in fact, what we're looking at is a very risky proposition. They took very significant risks.
It's really devastating to us.
Dr. Robert Atcher says the Americans would have built more reactors to produce isotopes, but because the Canadian government was promising that the Maple reactors were coming on stream, the U.S. held back. So do you think that was a kind of implied contract, that Canada would keep supplying isotopes?
My interpretation is that it in fact was. You know, we didn't get anything in writing. There wasn't a literal contract, but I think there was an implied contract that they would actually supply the material for us, and that was why we stopped our production project. Personally, I feel like we got let down by making that decision to stop the Maples project.